Over the last few years, the Lean user experience design community has kind of emerged, and that came as well as the Lean startup community. And what we noticed is that we had these very different communities of practice that shared a lot of commonality. And one of the interesting things is ours is very vibrant, it's very new, but these people really didn't understand the origins of Lean. They didn't understand some of the general principles. And we thought maybe by kind of finding ways to seed each other's communities with these ideas, with these principles, with these people, and make one-on-one connections, that we could all learn from each other and we could all benefit. One of the things that's interesting is that the user experience design community is really into customer research, understanding what is customer value, how can we validate that, and we've been able to kind of bring that into this Lean thinking community. And at the same time, they've taught us a lot, especially around managing our flow, thinking in terms of cycle time, reducing batches, constantly looking for Kaizen. And so there's a lot of commonality, but there's a lot of places where I think the differences are where we can learn. One specific example is LPPD, especially in early product discovery, has this notion of set design. That is, you know you have a problem, you know your customers are experiencing this problem, you want to create some kind of a solution to it, but you don't necessarily know what it is. And so you create a number of possible options through prototyping, for instance. And then what you do is you eventually gather data by putting it in front of customers, you slowly apply constraints until what you end up designing and developing is something that really meets customer needs. And one of the nice things about this is it kind of de-risks your system, but it also prevents a lot of the rework that happens. And Lean UX has a lot of those very same notions. What we do is, once we've explored who the customer is and what the problem is, we generate a lot of possible solutions, usually start off by sketching and then eventually go into prototyping, testing 3, 4, 5 different options, and then starting to apply the constraints based on feedback or based on analytics or based on qualitative research that allows us to slowly narrow what we're going to actually deliver before we've spent any engineering time building the thing out. And I think that's one of the places where there's a lot of commonality. Now, the key thing is we definitely use different words, but the underlying principles and processes are very similar. And so I think that's one of the bridges that we can find this common ground, and then we can start to explore other new places. And I think that's the key thing, is how do we translate LPPD's language to Lean UX language to LPPD, and this is again another place where collaboration and rubbing these communities together, I think, will improve all of us, and we'll have opportunities to learn. So I was really excited to be invited to speak here at the Lean Transformation Summit. I was invited by John Shook, and the session that I ran was actually called Designing Experiments Using Lean User Experience Design. And what I wanted to really cover was, what is the step-by-step process through which teams can figure out, okay, we have a problem, how do we now design an experiment to learn so that we can move forward and do the right thing? I got quite a number of good people that came in, and I think they really appreciated both the session, but also, there was a lot of feedback, and we ended up introducing a thing called Lean Coffee, which was a mechanism where instead of people asking me questions directly, what they could do is share their questions with everybody around at their table and kind of unpack each one of these things that had arisen, as opposed to me kind of being the expert at the front of the room dictating what the answer should be. And I think a lot of people really enjoyed that.